Mayday, we've been hit. I repeat, hit. I've lost control and we are going down.
Now I'm sure if you guys have clicked on this video, you're going to be here for one of a few options. First thing being, you'll probably want to know the best controls you can use to pilot an aircraft in Battlefield 2042. And even get those OG controls back from Battlefield 4, which would apply for both keyboard and mouse. The second reason why you could be here would be for news about the jets in Battlefield 2042. And last but not least, you guys may be here for a few tips on how to actually use the jets in Battlefield 2042 effectively and be able to use them to own the skies and keep the air superiority. Now in this video we are going to be covering all those points and everything else that is jet related for Battlefield 2042. So stay tuned, grab a bag of popcorn and we'll get right into it. Okay, so the settings that I'm going to be showing you guys, it's not going to be every setting that you guys can change for Battlefield 2042. It's going to basically just be the best settings for you guys for if you want to fly jets, whether you'll be on controller or on keyboard and mouse. Now the first thing that I'm going to show you guys here will be on the display settings. So what you want to do is bring up the settings in Battlefield 2042, go over to display at the top and then down where it says video. Once you've done this, scroll down a little bit and you'll see it says vehicle third person field of view. Now me personally, I like to see as much of the battlefield as I can when I'm flying the jets. So I have this on 88, which is the max you can set it on. Now I believe most games work on a horizontal field of view, which is why this only says 88 and not a higher number, for example 120 like you'd normally see. I believe this is why the max is 88 because this works on a vertical field of view and not a horizontal one. Now the next thing you'll see, I'm not going to actually go through these settings, but if you want to copy these here, these will also make a huge difference to you guys. Now moving on from here, you want to then head over to the controller settings. Now this is where we get into the nitty gritty of setting you guys up on the controller. So the first thing you'll want to do is go down to where it says air pilot controls and air pilot buttons. Now I know from the beta, if you set these controls here like I have them to custom, it will change your controls to how they were on Battlefield 4. Now Battlefield 4, as some of you guys may know, had some of the best controls for flying aircraft in Battlefield, and these will be the easiest way for you to learn how to fly the planes in Battlefield. Now I haven't specifically tested these out yet because I don't play on controller. However, if you guys could confirm down in the comments for me if this has changed your controls back to the controls from Battlefield 4, that'd be fantastic. If not, what you then want to do is change these to custom like I've done here. Go over to where it says keybinds, come over to where it says pilot, and you'll be able to go through and physically change all of these buttons to how they were on Battlefield 4. You then want to head over to the vehicles tab. Scrolling down here, you'll see that it will have a few keybinds for you guys. If you want to change these, you can. And then another thing you'll see here, it says aircraft control sensitivity. This is where you'll be able to adjust your sensitivity for when you are flying aircraft in Battlefield 2042. Some of you guys may like a higher sense, some of you may like a lower sense. However, I just kept this as standard. I haven't touched helicopter control assists, as this can be kind of helpful if you do go AFK for a second. However, these next settings on the advanced tab, these are the ones you guys will want to look at. I did post a video on how to fly helicopters in Battlefield 2042, and I did get a couple of comments saying about the aim ratios. Now I don't know if this will be the same that applies to jets as well. However, they did mention how their vertical aim ratio was a lot stronger than the speed of the horizontal zoom. Now if you guys are struggling with the vertical aim ratio, you can adjust this and turn this down a little bit so you can tweak your settings, which will make it a lot easier for you guys if you are trying to shoot people with the miniguns when you're flying around. Now like I said, I don't play controller, so you guys will have to have a little play around with these settings yourself and find something that is comfortable for you guys that will allow you to fly the aircraft as easy as possible in Battlefield 2042. Once you guys are pretty happy with these settings, you can go over to the controller tuning settings and further tweak all of these settings in here. So that's pretty much your controller settings done, so let's head over to mouse and keyboard. So the first thing you'll want to do when you're on the mouse and keyboard tab is head over to vehicles, and again scroll down a little bit till you come to the pilot section. Now for keyboard and mouse, I again haven't touched my aircraft control sensitivity because I like it set standard as 70, and I've left both of the ratios at 100 because this will be the most true to your actual mouse movements as possible. Now I'm not actually too sure what the vehicle aim relative controls does, so I have just left this as on for the time being. Once you then have this set up on the vehicles page, head over to the key bindings, and this is where things get really interesting. Go over to the pilots tab and scroll down a little bit until you'll see where it says pitch down and pitch up. Now, one thing I would highly recommend is you want to change your pitch down to spacebar and pitch up to your left control or something that's on the left side of your hand that you'll find very easy to press. By binding pitch down to spacebar, this essentially means that when you're flying an aircraft and you want to point the nose to the sky, you can literally just hold your spacebar instead of dragging your mouse across your mouse pad and running out of mouse pad. Pitch down will essentially do the opposite and point the nose of your plane towards the ground. Heading down a little bit further on the list here, I've got the rear view camera as the middle scroll wheel mouse button, so I can see the enemy jets that are flying behind me. I've left the enter and exit vehicle as E, however you guys can change this if you don't want to accidentally hit that button. Now, I've left the chase camera to C because that's a nice easy button to hit when you're flying the jets to be able to change your view to see who's behind you. Now, once you guys have been through all these settings which I've just showed you, you should be pretty much set up to be able to jump into a jet in Battlefield 2042 and start taking on enemy pilots and using the miniguns to get some kills on infantry. One thing I'd highly recommend for you all, if you are a seasoned player and you're a pro aircraft pilot, or if you are new to the game and you have never flown an aircraft before, go into All Out Warfare, select which game mode you want, come over to where it says solo and co-op, so you're playing against bots or AI soldiers, and then go into where it says Conquest. If you hit F, it will allow you to change which map you want to play and how hard you want the enemy bots to be. Now, once you've done this, you can then load into a game and start getting used to the Battlefield 2042 pilot controls. One thing I will say is when you're selecting the map, I would probably recommend using Breakaway because it's easier to see the enemies against the white contrast of the snow. One thing that is to note is when you are playing against the AI soldiers is that you can actually unlock the first 2 unlocks for everything no matter what you're using in this game mode. So it will help you unlock the first couple of unlocks for the jets if you are trying to go for the upgrades. One thing you'll want to note is when you are coming up against other enemies, the helicopters actually have the same skybox as the planes do. So just be mindful when you do load into the battlefield and you jump in a jet, you want to be careful that there's no helicopters sitting at the top of the skybox that are waiting to lock onto you via the heat seekers and take you out that way. When you first load into the battlefield and you jump into a jet, I'd highly recommend either going into hover mode or flying very slowly to start with to seeing what spawns in. Now, if you do see enemy jets spawning in straight away, I would highly recommend going after them first and taking out the enemy jet, and then during the cooldown that the jet has to respawn, I would then recommend going after the attack choppers as they are the next biggest threat to you. Once you guys know that the skies are clear, you can then start to try and kill infantry and any other light ground vehicles that you may be able to see. Now, when you guys are engaging in a dogfight, there's no specific maneuvers you can use anymore to outperform the enemy pilots. Now, one of the easiest ways to do this now is actually by using the afterburners and the brake to change your speed and turn more sharply. Now, if you do this enough, this will be the hardest way for the enemy pilot to lock onto you or to shoot you down with the miniguns, and you may actually be able to survive and lose him temporarily and give yourselves enough time to turn around and actually take him out instead. Another thing for when you're trying to shoot down an enemy aircraft is that you want to try and aim around where the nose of their plane is, depending on how far away you are from them. Now, one thing I'd really recommend for you guys if you're targeting the helis in the game is have a look where they are on the map, fly away from them, gain some distance, come back around, and when you get into lock-on distance with the heat seekers, shoot one heat seeker and then follow up with the miniguns. You should be able to take out the helicopters with ease. So once you guys have cleared the airspace and you gained the air superiority, what you then want to do is use the miniguns to take out the troops. Now, this is easier said than done. For some reason, DICE have made the miniguns in this game so inaccurate, it is actually stupid. It is really hard to hit the enemies from a distance, no matter whether you're in the Nightbird or either one of the jets. Now, if you are in the F-35E Panther like I'm in just here, it will be a lot easier for you guys to take out the infantry because you can activate hover mode. Now, this will give you guys a second to hover, find some enemies and use the miniguns to take them out. The miniguns actually shoot a lot lower than where you're aiming. So you'll have to aim the yellow circle a little bit higher than where the enemy actually is. Now you guys may be wondering, well Brandon, what do you do if you don't have the Panther and you cannot use the hover mode to take out the enemies? Now the answer for this can be pretty simple, but it's actually going to be a lot harder for you guys to kill the enemies with the miniguns in the jet. What you essentially want to do is fly towards one of the enemy bases that you know is occupied by a lot of enemies. Then, as you are approaching the objective, what you'll want to do is slow down enough so it will give you guys a lot more stability when you're trying to shoot the ground infantry. Just be careful here, because when you guys have slowed down, it will give the enemies a much easier chance of locking onto you and shooting you down with a stinger. Once you guys have mastered the bot lobbies and you're able to rack up quite a few kills against the AI, I'd highly recommend transitioning over to an all-out warfare with other online players as well, and you guys will be able to own the skies. If you guys have any other questions for me, feel free to leave them down in the comment section and I'll try my best to get back to every single one of you. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video today. Hopefully I've managed to help you in some way. Feel free to leave a like on the way out, hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you all in the next video.